Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Grease Comics YouTube channel. Today's video, we are going to be talking about Asha Greyjoy. Funny enough, in the over a year span of this channel being a thing, I'd actually never done a solo video for Asha Greyjoy. So in today's 25 Days of Winds of Winter, we'll be covering Asha Greyjoy and looking at her plot. Now, her plot coincides with also Stannis and Theon's plots. We'll dive a little bit into their plots as well. This video actually will probably cover a lot of Stannis' plot, even though I'm going to do a Stannis video later on. But just keep that in mind. So, yeah, I also wanted to give you guys a massive shout out. I'm recording this the day after we hit 2,000 subscribers, so thank you guys all for that. But let's continue on. So, before we get into the video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do it up to the channel, grow your appeal up, might like this content as well. And let's get into it. So, Asha Greyjoy. Now, I want to bring up something very important to the story right away. So, the last we see of Asha Greyjoy is a sample chapter, and there's this idea here that Theon is going to be killed so that Stannis can get a lot of the respect of the Northern Lords, because you guys have to remember, the North does not like Theon because he presumably killed Bran and Rickon. Now, us, the audience, and certain other people in the North know that this is not true, but remember, majority of the North does not have this information, or even the world as a whole. Someone like Stannis also would believe this. So there's an interesting little tidbit that we get here that makes no sense on the face value of it. So Asha asks, well, if you're going to do it in front of a weirwood tree. Now this is interesting. Why would Asha say this? Asha does not believe in the old gods. She believes in the religion of the Iron Islands. So why would she say anything like this? Also, Theon doesn't really believe in the Northern Gods either. Maybe he's coming into more of a believer of the Northern Gods. But we've not really seen anything, no signs of that. Asha certainly wouldn't know that. So why is she suggesting that? Well, if we think about it, Asha has been with a lot of Northern men and people that have been in the North for quite a while. Remember, she is a prisoner of Stannis after the capture of Deepwood Motte. Something that was very different than the show version of events. So the idea here would be, well, the North believes that you cannot lie underneath a weirwood tree. So the idea, I think, for me would be that Asha, knowing Theon's innocence, is going to try and get him to be saved because he's going to be under a weirwood tree. He can't lie. Now, that is not the only thing that I think is going to happen here that also coincides with this information. Wyman Manderley and the Manderleys as a whole, well, I guess Wyman Manderley, not the Manderleys as a whole, know that Theon is also innocent of this. He knows that Bran and Rickon are not dead, and that Wex also knows this. So what I believe is going to happen is, I don't think Stannis is going to have a chance to execute Theon. But when he finally does, what I think is going to happen is the truth is going to be revealed to the people of the North and Stannis' army as a whole. That Theon did not kill Rickon and Bran. That they are actually still alive. So what we'll see here is Asha is pretty responsible for saving Theon's life. And I think Theon and Asha will have a very close relationship. This is Asha's really her last family, it would appear, just based upon her brother Euron, her uncle Euron, not so great. Her uncle Victarion is serving Euron. It's just not looking great for Asha, and this is her only last sibling. So I think she's going to try to get very close with Theon and be someone that is going to try and help him revert back to Theon. Now, the next part of this will be, okay, well, after Asha proves Theon's innocence, what happens? Is she going to be released? Is she going to just follow Stannis? What's going to happen here? So the way I think this goes is I think Stannis wins the Battle of Ice, and I think he takes Winterfell. Now, the next part of this that I've always thought about is that I think Stannis will take Winterfell, but as he's doing it, the others break through the wall. Now, this is because Euron, as we've talked about in a previous video on this channel, or actually like a couple days ago, is going to blow the Horn of Winter and blow the wall down. So what I think will happen is Stannis will hold against the others. And what I think is going to happen is, because again, we need a POV into Stannis' camp. And I think a lot of people that are POVs will be gone. I think there's a couple opportunities of POVs we could see during this final, I think, battle for Winterfell that I think Stannis will lose, and that will be how he does die. I think it could be Davos, but I also think if we're looking at it from a more realistic sense, it could be Asha. I think Asha is there with Stannis as her captive still with Theon. And this last chapter is Stannis basically saying he is going to try and hold Winterfell as long as he possibly can, and that he is going to try and allow the North to get south to unite and to be able to defeat the others. So what I think will happen in this chapter is that we see Stannis. I don't know if we're going to actually see Stannis dying or his forces at Winterfell dying, but I think we will see Asha and Theon leaving Winterfell after being released by Stannis to help try and bring the Greyjoys or try to bring any support from the Iron Islands to fight this threat north of the wall that is coming south. And I think that is the way Winds of Winter will end for Asha. So A Dream of Spring will be a different thing. So A Dream of Spring, I think, will be based upon Asha trying to rally the Ironborn and the forces of the Iron Islands that are left. Because, again, I want you guys to remember that I have predicted now, I think, I'm not 100% unsure on this. I'm like 50-50 on Euron as a character. I think Euron could and probably will die at Old Town, in the sack of Old Town, and after he does blow the Horn of Winter. So I think Euron will actually be out of the way for Asha. And the next question is going to be Victarion. So Victarion has put all of his forces into Dany. Now, will he betray Dany, trying to take one of her dragons? I think it's likely. I think Victarion is not a smart person or a rational person, especially politically, that I think he will want things that Dany is not willing to give him. And one way or another, I think that will lead Victarion to probably being killed, which will leave Asha to rule the Iron Islands. And I think she will. I mean, think about all the experiences Asha gets from being in the North with Stannis. She starts to understand more about how the world feels about the Greyjoys. Because if you think about when Asha was trying to become the queen, her plan is, let's make an alliance with the Northern Kingdoms. Asha never really understood how much the North hated the Greyjoys. Like, that was such a... It was a plan that, like, was very progressive in the way the Ironborn think, but at the same time, it was very illogical. The North would never have made an alliance with the Greyjoys, under no circumstances. And I think Asha, coming into a queen role, will understand that she has to repair a lot of these relationships. And I don't think Asha will be queen. I don't think the Iron Islands will be their own separate nation. I think they will be part of the Seven Kingdoms. But I think Asha will understand that to make alliances and to have the Iron Islands prosper, she really needs to fix everything her father did and her uncle did, and to really understand how to develop as a society. I've always looked at the Iron Islands as a society kind of like the Japanese around World War II, where they were a culture that couldn't really self-sustain themselves, so they had to raid other people. And as we've gotten further into society and time has gone on, Japan has learned to trade a lot and become more involved in society instead of raiding, kind of like what the Ironborn are doing. So that's the kind of way I would look at those two and compare how they will grow. Because I think that's the way the Greyjoys are destined to go and growing as a society. But for me, the way Asha's story will end is I do think Asha is going to live. I think Asha lives. I think she becomes the lady of the Iron Islands, and I think that is the end of her story. But let me know what you guys think about Asha. Do you guys think she's going to survive? I think she personally does. I think as long as she survives Winds of Winter, I think she's going to be okay. I think that's going to be where she's going to be in her most danger. But thank you guys all for watching this video. We'll be talking about her brother Theon tomorrow. Will be a very similar intro to that video, but we'll probably go two separate directions. So thank you guys all here for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.